And I'm here to listen and to learn and to stay active, because we need to be. And as she was saying, a few years ago I was asked to introduce someone I'd never met, Dr. Helen Caldicott, but I was very impressed with her work and very impressed with the books she has written and her appearances all over the world. And what I didn't know the night I met her, and she told me, was that when she was 15, growing up in Australia, she saw Stanley Kramer's On the Beach. Her first dream was to become a doctor, which she did do. But after seeing that movie, which was scary, in 1959, it changed the course of her life. She was going to use her doctorate, being a doctor, to go all over the world and get out the message, which is what she's been doing all this time. That I didn't know. But I do know that in 1959, when Stanley made On the Beach, only two countries had the bomb. Russia, our on and off love affair with Russia, and us. And we were not on good terms with Russia, and what we were reading about, we were frightened to death. And many Americans were building bomb shelters in their backyard, naively building bomb shelters to protect themselves from the bomb and from the radiation. Well, we've come a long way, a long distance since that time. We know a heck of a lot more about the seriousness of this problem. And now it's not just two countries that have the bomb, it's a lot of them. So Helen and I and my daughter Catherine have become very, very close friends. My daughter is an activist. She has a screening series called Cat Kramer's Films That Changed the World, in which little salons, little bigger than this, but salons where she invites the activists of a subject, shows the movie and the press, and gets movie stars to come out because they bring the press to get the word out. And one of the last films she did was called Fallout. It was about the making of On the Beach in Australia. Very good film. And it's with Dr. Helen Caldicott and quite a number of people. And it was quite successful, and Helen is out there still doing it. In fact, she has a symposium in New York coming up the end of February through the first part of March, which is all about this, like Libbe is doing tonight. And we're going to learn so much from her, because there's many subjects that Libbe covers that Helen is not covering.
And so we're also screening On the Beach.
Oh yes, and we are going to be screening On the Beach in New York, because that was the first film of its kind. And when Stanley did, well, he was kind of like the father of social issues in film. You know, where Hitchcock did the murder mysteries and John Ford was known for the westerns, Stanley was known for making social issues and pushing the button, so to speak. And they were very controversial and very progressive of their era, because of the fact people weren't discussing these subjects. People didn't want to hear about them, they didn't know about them. And sadly, we're still wrestling with them today. And they've even gotten worse since those days. But he also had to promote his own films, because a lot of people didn't want to stand up and say, I believe this, because you lose half your audience when you take that risk. It's quite a challenge, but he did it. He was very creative. When he premiered On the Beach, he chose December the 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. Not just here, not just in New York, but in every major city, in every country, all over the world in one night. Now, many of you are too young, but some of us are a little bit more of age. Remember, we had in the theaters, we didn't have CNN, and television was not quite what it is today. We had March of Time, the March of Time. Did anybody remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, well, good. Some of us do remember. That's good. Thank you. On the March of Time, they had clips of that, because kings, queens, heads of state, in one night, from all over the world came to see that film about what we're going to be discussing this evening. And that film started the disarmament talks at the United Nations. So actually film can change the world, or make you aware of things you're not paying attention to, or what you're not being told by your government. So that's how I got to know Helen Caldicott. And so we're going to fight the good fight.